It's really marvelous. We have to go back to these beautiful things. Yes, Carla, you are right, because we started from life dance life. Absolutely. And why are we talking about this? Because we really needed it. We needed to go back to having fun. Of course, we really need to have a lot of positivity, and you can only receive positive feelings when you feel this joy of life within yourself. And change does give you this joy of life, color, movement. They all give you joy of life. First, we need to work on ourselves to be able to transfer these feelings. And of course, you are always super positive, so you are a very nice example of this joy of life. So I'm very honored to have you here as our director, artistic director here in the studio. I need to tell you that the previous collection, when we talk about flowers, La Rose de Vie, you were really able to give the sense to matching together nature and naturality, beauty and hair. And it was really marvelous. In fact, we never have to exaggerate. Exaggeration leads to overpass the red thread, which does not represent a good taste. Exaggeration is not nice. When you have very long ideas, just put them into the drawer. Take your time to think, let the people understand the changes, and then go back in the drawer and take them out and start thinking about that again. Having followed you with the collection and fragrance of Dolce Vita, it was in fact what we started talking about the new trend. You searched a lot about this, you just left it a while, sediment for a while, and after that, you came out with the best to give to the collection. I truly believe in what I do. I always say that next time I'll do something better. But what I really liked about the collection was not only the simplicity on the cuts, but it's important to follow rules. It was also nice for me that to change the look to a girl, it was for me as if we were giving a touch of personality to every woman. It's like a diamond with different faces. Changing haircut can really change, can make the expression of the face be changed. I believe it is something every single woman has inside. Women are not always linear. Sometimes we are, a bit tricky, and we I'm not part of the saint side of women, so I always like changing. I believe it is important to underline that color techniques do refer to the color chromy color techniques. You are going to see colors matching with the face, the color, and the shape of the face of the different models. We can do it with every single color, but we never have to exaggerate because Inebrya is elegance. It is correct to say that more is more, but we also need to keep an eye on elegance. Now, I would like to introduce Amedeo to everybody. Amedeo is in line with us, so good morning. Welcome to this webinar. Thank you so much to everybody. I agree with what my two colleagues just said.
Ok, perfetto. Non potevo che non essere d'accordo con tutto quello che ha detto Carla, con tutto quello che hai detto te, Tammy, perché la vivo giornalmente, cioè
In
la
fact,
pratica di
on a
questo
daily
la faccio
basis,
giornalmente nel mio negozio.
I live what you just
Praticamente
introduced,
gli styling, i colori,
styling and colors and cards.
affiancati ad ogni
always needed to be matched to different women. Thus, we have the possibility to change and translate what we have into the collection to our clients. Carla says that that woman is like a diamond with different facelets. Yes, I can confirm it. And then we'll see again during this webinar just by looking at the videos. Amedeo is in line with us, but he also has models. So you and I, Carla, are here just like queens, and we are exploiting, let me say, our son. From a distance, he's working with models, using the colors which are not suitable for these two models. So thank you very much, Amedeo, for being here with us. But before going on with the first interview, you gave the concept, which is the main argument of this collection. I would like just to give a sort of information to the different clients and friends following us from different parts of the world, from England, Australia, New Zealand, America. All those people speaking English can connect to the English speaking channel. And then we also have the Spanish word. We have South America, Spain, and different countries. So all those people having Spanish, please do connect to the Spanish channel. Do connect to the Spanish link, go into the globe and click on Spanish language. We also have different interpreters connected with us. So we have German, French. We are really many people. So thank you very much to all the interpreters. Thank you to all of them. We are very lucky for them to be there. And it's not really easy to work with us because, you know, we're just free. We talk freely. And you know why? Because Carla lives in such a way the collection, fashion, and life. That's true. I can't do otherwise. To this regards, I would like to say that in Inebrya, I just followed the evolution of the collections. And it is correct. We cannot repeat ourselves because the world is much faster than us. Therefore, according to me, Dolce Vita perfume represents the change, the right goal to reach. So it's like a trilogy for us. Of course, we are ready to start even a new one. Thank you very much, Amedeo. I'm going to start with some styling. Is that all right? Of course, do that. Whenever you want to interrupt us because you have something important to report, to tell us, please go ahead. You're always welcome. For those people watching us, I just would like to inform you that you're going to see some differences on the collection because cuts were made a month or 6 weeks ago. Some colors are not similar to the one reported in the collection, but following colors words. The cut has to be performed and matched to the face, the style, to the client. So the technique has been ours, following the color and the cut. But then we also need to customize it to the client we have in front of us. Color techniques may be interchanged, even with the tone, but the styling is going to be the one following the collection. Thank you, Amedeo. We are in this way able to show you how the cut can last for a month. Because in fact, it is the answer to the perfection of the technique. In fact, techniques may be interchanged. We don't have to say, if I don't have the right model, I can't do it. No, you can change. The front detail makes a difference, and it's going to make the change on the different techniques. This is what you're going to see with one model. The technique has to be studied, evolved, and then bring into your salon. In Inebrya, this is the beautiful part of this versatility. Color and cutting techniques are put together.
Procediamo e guardiamo la tua intervista, Carla.
Ok, grazie. Oddio mio. Ciao team inebri di tutto il mondo. Il 2022 è stato un anno inebriante. Siamo stati in diversi angoli del pianeta e abbiamo finalmente riportato la formazione in presenza. La collezione C'est la Rose et la Vie aveva delle donne sensuali e dei look versatili che siamo riusciti ad adattare alle donne di ogni angolo del mondo, dalle Americhe all'Asia passando per l'Europa. Ed ora, eccomi qui, sul set della nuova collezione Inebrya. Vi anticipo che ci siamo superati. Ancora di più abbiamo voluto lavorare sulla femminilità, sulla sensorialità, le frange, i ricci, le nuove tonalità di biondo, le nuove tonalità e luminosissimi colori sono pronti per voi. Vi stiamo aspettando per inebriare il mondo. Ciao a tutti.
Come with me.
Are you ready to inebriate the world?
Ciao! Benissimo, sì, è molto bello, vero Carla?
Sì.
Soprattutto anche per noi che l'abbiamo vissuto,
Very
rivederlo.
nice. What do you see, Carla? We went through it and we felt the same emotions we felt when we did it. Here we can see the concept you were talking about when you presented the collection. Just document your sentences coming out from your heart. Yes, it means love. Only with joy. Any moment, colors give you life.
Assaporare l'amore,
Non volevo dirlo perché è un ricordo bellissimo.
Experience love. Yes, it's beautiful. And set your dreams, no dreams, and try to reach them. And also capture beauty. The concept you were talking about before, just capture the beauty of every single woman. All women do have to discover it, their own beauty inside them, but they need to be helped from a friend or to be helped by a professional person. And then the scent of Dolce Vita is surrounding us. It doesn't refer to the 60s of the Roman times, but the sweetness of life. Grab what life gives you and just let go what is not really sweet, but sour. Very nice presentation and message. Thank you, Carla. Now we go into the lookbook. We have a beautiful lookbook by every single collection together with other materials, step-by-step video, which we're going to see today and comment it in order for all the people following us from different parts of the world may know how to create the collection. Are you also willing to travel and promote the collection? Yes, you are. So we're going to see Carla in different nations to be able to teach and spread the technique of cutting and color presentation, because in the Profumo il Dolce Vita book, we always report the same sentences coming from Carla Bergamaschi, what she would like to teach as a function message. So inebriate yourself from color and love, the essence of life. A person alone becomes sad. If you're sad, just change your road, change your habits. You're going to find something different. You're going to discover something different. Anything. Do change your good or bad habits. Do start something different. You don't go to the theater, start going. Go to a museum, even in your country, in your own city. We're always looking to go to other countries or other cities, but we don't really know our own city. So start from your own city. Culture is important. It's like wanting to be thirsty of culture, of love, of beauty. It gives you a lot. It is in the air. Just grab it. It just has to blossom. Talking about art and museum, I know you love visiting exhibitions. Here, you even wrote down that you are the artist of your own life. Yes, it is. It's always yourself deciding for your life. It's you deciding what you want to do about your life. You don't have to blame anybody else. If you have something in your mind, just try. Don't get lost immediately. Try and try again. Be pushed by enthusiasm, because it is enthusiasm moving the world. These are all imageries and messages that our hairdressers may give to people. By every cut, we got some sentences starting from expressions. In this case, from example, we talk about notes of passion by looking at this blonde act model. You can see it's just like a game, starting from copper, it's a flame of passion, and then ends up in a beauty and sweetness, because it develops into love for yourself, not only for other people. Here we talk about sensual blonde, the same model, but different profile, a pure blonde. Look at her. It is the same girl, but if you make a fringe to this girl, you can see she is grabbing life in a different way. It's always the same girl, but the fringe gives detail to the girl. The length hasn't changed. The fringe makes her aggressive and passionate, with a contrast with iconic blonde, the purity of feelings and enthusiasm. Everything is connected. And a hyper-feminine blonde on this slide. The front was taken from the 60s and 70s rockabilly hairstyles, but reviewed through a sort of modern look. It's not the wet effect, it is a construction of style which goes beyond. The cut is quite important, the color as well, without considering, we also need to consider the styling, the hair drying. As we said, this girl has gone from sweet sensuality to a strong sensuality with a fringe. Look at her now, she's absolutely feminine. In these plays, we really played. It looks as if it is very short haircut, but it's not. She's very beautiful with this geometric blonde, the essence of blonde. The blonde essence, just like in blondess, enhancing the geometric blonde. If she was brunette, it wouldn't have the same effect. She would look beautiful anyway, but in this case, the blonde is much, much better because it gives a better aggressivity and, a sweetness as well. We can see the two of them together, the two models. Medium, strong, clear colors, explosion of Dolce Vita perfume. These models were really perfect. They really trusted me while I was working on their hair. From long to short hair, they let me cut their hair. They truly believed in myself. It's the same thing that clients in our salon shall have to do. They need to trust us in us being the professionals and be able to propose to our clients what we would like to make on their hair. We need to be the guide for our customers, comment what we are going to do on their hair, and entrust enthusiasm to people. It's going to be a sort of game, be able to transform our sentences in action on color and cutting techniques. We need to propose and let the people start thinking what they want to reach with their own hair. Notes of elegance. We even work with waves. I strongly believe in the coming back on perm, even though we're not going to call it perm anymore, but I truly like waves. This was an extraordinary activity you performed on this model, just like the rest. Of course, defined, precise, beautiful waves, very natural, for which we also have a step-by-step because we're able to launch it too. Here we have the same girl with a different cut in the front. The details do change the look. We also have some dark shadows right in the middle. I wanted to enhance the red shades. The model liked the look very much. The model felt like being a fairy tale protagonist. It is the same girl with a different wave and curl. Curl is coming in the 2023 tendency, but also in the following years. Here we can see the shades from copper to gold and from mahogany to purple. Notes of femininity. This girl represents sensuality. Sometimes people want to have straight hair, which is very elegant, but also curly hair lets us feel a sense of joy. You know, thinking about women, curly women, is like thinking about joyful, full of joy women and girls. It's like a doll. Look at her. She's sinuous curly waves, very easy. Also for summertime, very fashionable and very comfortable. When you go to the beach, you just have to rinse your hair, just apply a bit of conditioner or oil to protect your hair, and then you don't have to do anything. I believe it is very nice, very comfortable. But also the straight hair brunette, marvelous brunette, it's always the same girl. You can see the cut, very light degradation on the length, which we are going to go through step by step later on. It's just giving a sort of diversity on her look, which I really like. This was the model before. She let us first bleach her hair, then we cut it pre-cut, and then the perm on the cut. It was a very long activity, but a strong, a completely different aspect. Because, you know, it's just a way you just have to give a different image to beautiful things. The color turns out very beautiful, quite delicate, and she looks like being a bit more mature, from a curly young girl to a mature woman. I would say that this has already been seen. It's a sort of classic. The other one, the previous image, was the new image, and the collection goes towards the new styles. Let us see the changes and how a woman can change and how she can become modern. She's always beautiful, but I prefer her on the curly version. Here we have the perfume of Dolce Vita with the two girls together. We've seen all the looks, the final with the credits, and then we can see all our proposals. We've got 3 cuts, including also the curly copper version. We're also going to talk about waves, and we start going through the first line. Amedeo, meanwhile, finished the styling of seductive red. Here we have our model. Very smooth styling, just some waves on the front. We are not talking about a classic styling. Very often I can see styling, classic styling. In this case, we have symmetry. It goes externally, internally. It can really, by looking at the lookbook, the client identifies herself on this styling. If the client is used to having the classic waves, she asks me, I would like to change and have something like this done. And she would like to try something she never did before. This is why I'm talking about a really versatile collection, because we can meet our clients' demands. It is important to give the right consultancy to our customer, including the styling. In the last years, we didn't really refer to the styling due to the pandemic, due to different reasons. Now clients are coming back to the salon, therefore it is important, in my opinion, to give the right consultancy and talk to the client. Propose something new, not the fashion styling, but vary and propose something different. Can you please move the hair? Yes, do that. Go back, just move the hair of this beautiful woman. Perfect, I like it. You see, this is what I wanted you to make. Just show it to us, it's beautiful, even though it's not really perfectly combed. It looks beautiful. Thank you, Amedeo. We're now going to this new line. step-by-step sheets. Every cut has got the step-by-step credit showing us what we did. We also have the videos in different languages. We just start with the video. In case you want to comment, please do that and we stop the video. We start with the first color.
Bene, allora ci sono i sottotitoli per tutto questo, chiaramente, e
We
vediamo.
have the explanations, but we also can see the sections and the separations performed for the color. We perfectly follow the color sections, which also were used for the cutting sections. You know, Tommy, because we do these sort of things together, you need to have an agreement between the color expert and the stylist person. Sometimes I see beautiful colors on wrong cuts, and vice versa. It is important to create an agreement between color and style. We need to understand what we want on the cut. There is a sort of collaboration between the cutting technique and the coloring technique. Every single person has a professional. The two people together need to match and agree on what to do on the final effect to the client. We need to give the right result to the client, putting together two different techniques, cutting and color. I wanted to mix the red, starting from a base red. So we lifted some strands, some of them were even darkened, to create a sort of movement. Amedeo has worked with me for many years. So, you know, when I see something, we don't really have to talk a lot because we understand ourselves from the occipital downwards. You keep some shadow, for example, because I want to apply a particular cutting technique afterwards. So when you know someone, the agreement is there, it's very easy. We also needed to have an agreement beforehand, basically before given the right technique, cutting or coloring technique, we needed to find the agreement or with a meeting. You know, ambassadors need to be prepared and create the right techniques. As you can see here, some darker and lighter strands to give them a shadowing effect through the colors. In all collections, we normally have two color change. In this very case, we also work with three different colors. On the step-by-step, we have the hero line. This is the second version where we inserted in the tone. As we said, we inserted the darker strands, work with Inebrya, color and demi. First, we had beached with Miraconda, gentle bloodless. Very nice look, having used different tones. Then I cut, you know, the longest is right at the shoulders. It's right time to start having a shorter haircut. You can see actresses and show women that all cut their hair right to the shoulders as maximum length. So why do we have to keep on having very long curly hair? It's nice to have a chatouche and waved hair, but just cut it and just keep something different. In this case, we can see different tools. We also applied sponges while applying the color when we use demi and Inebrya color to go from lighter and darker strands. Of course, you can use the brush, but why not using the sponge? You just bring something new into your salon. Instead of using the string, I just use my fingers. I just put the sponge inside my finger and I shadow it. As I go in towards the roots, I can really control it in a better way. Thank you for this tip. You can just go fast here. Just have a look at the images of the step-by-step into the sheet you're gonna find. And then we go into the color perfect, rounding up and repairing the porosity of the air. All our products known by everybody following us online. You can see the brightness, very nice.
Voglio aggiungere un attimo una cosa per quanto riguarda il colore. È bello lavorare con
I would like to add something about the color. Inebrya color is beautiful, but I really can use the demi. The brightness given by the demi is really strong. The client can see it. That's what's nice about it. We need to learn how to use the sponges. We need to stop thinking out of the box. We've got the tools. Inebrya is going to give us all the tools, so we have to use them. The client is interested in the tools that we are using, so it is a plus for what we are using inside the salon. I have learned from Carla that it is important for us to use everything has been given by the company, and we needed to start using it, everything we have. I believe it is in general a very important advice.
Andiamo a vedere il video del taglio, Carla.
Thank you, Amedeo. Now I would like to go and have a look into the cutting video.
Presentazione, sempre con lei che gioca, questi colori bellissimi e la lunghezza spettacolare.
Very nice colors. The length just before the cut. And here the partitions, the separations are the same one applied for the color. It is important to create right separations, just stick inside these separations. The front is a narrow triangle. For the fringe, it needs to be narrow. Then on the back, a rectangular. Another rectangular from the occipital to the fringe, then two sides. Also including the hair on the back of the ears where there is no real hair, and then the entire rotation around the mid-head. It is where the hair structure is going to change the plane. And this is a very important area. We start cutting from within. We cut flat blade horizontally because we want it to create a sort of round up. Verticals is going to make the hair fall straight, while the horizontal gives a rounding activity. Horizontal cut is not something done by many hairdressers. It needs to be perfectly performed, otherwise it's going to leave strong marks. So it's nice to learn these techniques and start cutting horizontally, because it gives different effects in the end. It's like, you know, embracing the entire head. I would like to receive some questions from the audience, if possible. If you have any questions, please do write them on the chart. And we've been having a look around the chart. So please, if you have any questions, go ahead.
25 messaggi diversi, i quali
So
hanno...
far, we've received 25 different messages, so that's been answered. But if you have any direct questions to Carla, please go ahead. We may answer. We've got many interpreters translating for you. Here you are always on the back area, but you moved the strand, transporting it uplift. Did you make it just to ensure yourself you're going to protecting the danger zone, what we call danger zone, just right on the back there? Yes, exactly. That's what I'm doing. I'm now defining the length. First the scale, and then I define the length with full blade. You see, we need to make very narrow strands. You need to sort of play with the roundness of the head. Then you go point cutting quite deep on the back, because I like it better. If it is medium long, I prefer it to be, not really rigid. I just don't really like to have a sort of math teacher carry, even though, I have many math teacher friends. It's a sort of lighter cut. Then we go on the side, which is really crucial point, another crucial point. I just cut slightly. I keep it smooth. As you can see, just to leave some area to the ear without creating some holes. This is why it is very important to learn how to cut. We need to learn the cutting technique. This is very nice. Follow your technique. It means that we're not going to make any mistakes. It's just letting and getting into a particular mentality. You don't really to go 50 different passages, but you just need to know from the beginning where you want to head to. From the normal cut to diagonal to the round cut. You need to follow precise schemes which can really be mixed. It's not only you to follow a cutting teacher, but it's going to be you becoming a master of your cuts. And this is very important. In this case, you really determine the scaling, different degradation on the front. So the first strand on the fringe, I know mentally where to cut. The upper part of the rectangular is right on top of the roundness of the head of the scope. I need to know where the strand is going to fall. You need to first try to apply and see the example. For example, with a paper foil, you need to know where it's going to fall. You need to understand what sort of results you're going to get in the end. It's like a fashion designer for the clothes. It's like a tailor. Mrs. Diana, for example, who's worked with the best important word stylish. I'm talking about clothes. She was really able to keep all the clothes for many, many years. So she's created a sort of museum. She told me, Guys coming out of schools and universities, they have a feeling that they know everything, but in reality, they're just learning to start, just ready to start learning. What do I want to give you? What message do I like to give you? From the very base, you learn the techniques, and then you need to start working with people who can teach you to grow and get deep into the techniques. As if it was the land where you need to start planting the plants, and from there you start learning. When you come out of school, it's just the very beginning of your future. You and I, Carla, still follow some courses. Of course, I'm still learning. I am an eternal learner. The horizontal cut changes the narration according to the shape of the head. Where do I need, what is the distance I needed to keep in order to pay attention to the graduation of the counting? You need to understand the roundness of the hair, where it is and where we want to get. You need to pay attention not to cut it too short. If you do that, you're going to get a too short cut. Pay attention where you want the strand to fall. The ridge line is very important. When you want to change the level, you normally need to start cutting from the ridge line. We keep on going with the video now. Here we can see the horizontal upper part and the movement now. You can see the movement, and then you start with the fringe. You divide the fringe in two separations. Where do you get the inspiration for the fringe? I need to start understanding where I want the fringe to fall. It's just 0.5 millimeter before. You know, this working technique allows me to make sure that the fringe is not going to get taller. The shorter is underneath, but it is the shorter pushing the longer. So in the end, if you follow this technique, the fringe is always perfect and it's not going to be lifted. Write it down, follow this tip, please. It is a quite important piece of advice. You know, it is the shorter part pushing the longer one. It is a physical low. And then you see the last part of the last cut. I normally do it with wet or dry hair. I just don't like the slide. If it is necessary, you have to do it in case of a lot of hair. But if the hair is quite delicate, just like the case of this model, you just create this sort of steps. Separations on the step of step, and then we should go through a different looks. So the first long look, opposite look effect because it was quite fair, then the curly, color on the curl, and the final effect, which we just saw in a minute. Now we need to have a look at this proposal, the term, but you don't call it perm. You call it, yes, the tired perm, because it was applied as if it was applied 3 or 4 months ago. You can leave it straight away because it is ready to be used. Beautiful from the very beginning. In reality, perm is really very much applied. We can see it on the actresses, on the red carpet, but it is a bit smaller now. You taught us just using very few waving rods, you can get a very beautiful effect, immediate effect. Just have a look at the video.
E guardiamo, eccolo qua, meravigliosa. Tra l'altro anche questa frangia è leggermente piegata di lato con una tecnica spettacolare che adesso vedremo.
Very nice. Following this side fringe with the starting separations. Start separating the hair and start cutting from specific sections. I liked the technique very much. I'm sure it's going to be applied everywhere in the world. Wide strands, medium rod, classic separation, but very clean, perfect separations. Opposite direction rod, just creating a wave effect.
È bellissima questa cosa. Guardiamo anche qui, sezione molto larga e molto...
Very wide section, very thick, keeping the same linearity, thus creating a very nice wave. This on the upper direction. Important to use the paper to avoid creating crispy hair. Then we go on the fringe. I don't want the fringe to be lifted. I want it to be smooth, slow, and falling. So I apply the rod in this way, falling down. It is out of the base, vertical rod. Just to give a slight movement to the fringe. You can see the picture on your back. Up and down. I haven't counted the rods, but I think there are sort of 15 on the whole. When you let them go, you're not going to be driven crazy because, you know, they're just get in place easily. Just dry them easily. Naturally or with a heat source. But don't give any volume to it. Just let it fall down normally. Just apply the curly finish product and then let it naturally dry. Do not apply volume to it. Otherwise, you go back to the past. We just launched the restyling of our waves, so it is perfect in this case. We can use a shape as 1 and 2, one for natural hair, one for treated color hair, and ondes, which is the natural, smooth, and the perfect product to use on this model. Very nice. I'm sure this look is going to be applied for the entire summer. I'm absolutely sure about that. I use ondes a lot in my salon. Up to some years ago, I wasn't asked so much about the perm, but you always live at the beach, so it is even more for you because you're going to be able to advise your customers to use this sort of style. Yes, my clients want to have a healthy hair, but also wanted to be able to give a very fast style. So I'm able to reach it without dust. I would like to add something about the cutting and the perm method. It is very easy method because it's gonna be used to create the perm. At first, you might think you're not going to get the result, but once you've learned it, it's really going to help you transfer the cut you want to apply afterwards, or the color, the perm you want to apply. You're going to teach your people working with you and not having a very long experience are going to learn very quickly. Separations on precise points, precise terms, so your pupils need to be able to understand quickly what to get. This is, again, very important to work in harmony. The stylist, the color stylist, the cutter stylist, the final style is going to be a collaboration between different people.
Ottimo, hai ragione. Grazie Medeo. Grazie a me. Bene. Sai Carla che nel frattempo ci è arrivata una domanda dal Sud America in merito
Meanwhile, we received a question from South America referring to the curly. The question is it possible to use this sort of wave technique on long hair? Is it possible? Can I use the same technique on long hair? Absolutely, yes. But when you apply the neutralizer, you don't just have to make it properly. Basically, when you apply the neutralizer, you just need to let the rod go for a while, apply the neutralizer on the second part, and then roll it again. If the hair is very long, you're going to apply something like 30 rods. Otherwise, it's going to be difficult to get the neutralizer and get inside the rods, which is being rolled up for 30 different revolutions. So it is a technique being able to be applied on the short, medium, and also long hair. Then the next line is the blonde, sensual blonde. Just have a look at the video.
E qui parliamo di biondo sensuale. Purissimo, tra l'altro, con questo effetto
sensual blonde with a flame effect on the fringe. You starting from the growth. You haven't touched the growth. Flame and blonde, not having to touch the regrowth. Very nice. You can see the separations. You kept the natural separation, which was going towards a sort of diagonal. Yeah, I just wanted to leave the copper color right in the middle. This is why I create a triangular start from the mid crown, going down on the side of the eyebrow, A, B, C, in order to be able to play with a shade. When I open it up, I can see how it falls. Amedeo is applying the color now. He's applying it now heavily, but then he's going to shade it and mix it with a lighter. You can see lighter and darker shades. It's a bit heavier at the very base, and then it's going to shade down, getting lighter, going down. He's worked on one side, he's moved the entire triangle on one side. Yes, because it was the copper triangle which we didn't want to spot to interact to the other side of the air. Now he's applying the neutralizer on the other side of the hair. She had a sort of yellow, so he's applying the neutralizer to improve the color by mixing thoroughly with the toner. We were able to remove the sort of slashed effect. The bottle effect, the bottle use is, in my opinion, very nice. It's gonna let us gain some minutes. You know, with a bowl, you're gonna lose some time. With a bottle, you just apply through the bottle, and it's much, much easier. Strand by strand, we mixed with a manual touch. If you use your hand, you really have the color penetrating in the hair. I love using my hands. You see this beautiful shadow, beautiful nuances. The styling is always kept on the triangle. Beautiful pure blonde. Blonde toner with icy blonde is really a fantastic formula. It's got a bit of purple inside, letting us neutralizing the yellow, taking away the yellow effect. You need to love the colors, try them until you really use them because you know them, so you can play with them. And creative techniques on the whole. We have two different formulas used on the copper side. We used Inebrya color on the darker part and the lighter part, while on the length we use blondes and we use the butter blonde formula. We have seen it used a lot on the styles of the last period. Take note, just take a screenshot of these indications formulas, which you're going to find on the step by step. We can go fast here, the different steps. And here you have the product presentation on blondes, nude toners. There are three: ice blonde, caramel blonde, and translucent. Mix them together, can really explode on a very wide number of different results. Every hairdresser is, in the end, a chemistry, because he can apply different formulas and can invent different, he or she can invent different formulas. Now we go through another video, essential blonde cut. I remind yourself, if you have questions, so please go ahead and write it down on the chart. We started from a flat, full, long hair. We go through the sections, the separations, including the back part of the head, which is very important because, as you can see, it goes under the change point where the head is going to move, is going to change the roundness. I'm going to cut a very short strand here because I want to make this point lighter. Otherwise, it would have been too full on this sort of a cut. This is quite interesting. This is the most important passage. It is the guide strand to be then able to rotate the cut vertically, lifting my hand. You see, in this case, I've got my guide. The hand goes from the lower part, never from the top. While I cut, I elongate my hand up to the point I've got my length, but I don't cut the length. It does not change. It's very important to get this point lighter, to make it lighter. So, upper diagonal, you keep the guiding and it's very nice to see how you go up. In order to keep the same scaling. So you're basically following orange strands, orange slices, as we may say, and then you keep the length, very small strands. If you make it too big in the end, you are going to get too big a difference. You need to keep very small strands. And by doing that, you can even, you need it to be parallel to the starting point of the hair. While you rotate, you're always moving your body. In fact, you can see that you move the position. You're basically following the rotation. And your hand always starts from the from underneath, from where the starting fingerprints start cutting, and then you isolate the hair. You can see me now? I know what I want to get, and I also know what I want to get. I know what effect I want to get. It doesn't have to be the same length. It needs to be a bit longer. There's no connection here. It's like disconnected areas and sides. Up to this point, 3 on top, and then I go, everything goes up here. It's going to be your fixed guide strand. Always keep horizontal sections. I lift this section up to this position, and then I cut. If you consider the roundness of the plane you're cutting, you basically receive a sort of straight movement. Yes, I basically want to cover the cut here I just cut because I wanted to keep a sort of lightness. If I want to keep it as short as the one I cut underneath, it's going to be a sort of ball. You need to be inspired by a particular period, but then you need to transform that technique into a modern cut. I don't want to apply a technique of 15 years ago. You basically have to apply a 60 years ago cutting because at least it is a historical cut and not a 15 years ago. Otherwise, you're going to become old. You keep going, you get to the length on the side. The side always needs to be much lighter than the back because you don't have the same amount of hair. I just wanted to keep a sort of length underneath, not really too empty. Just keep the style, be able to play with it. When the degradation is too strong, you need, you see here? it's not that easy. You need to follow the courses to be able to learn how to apply these cutting techniques. Now I'm just removing the not very nice effect, the short hair on top there. I don't like it. I've always taught my pupils and collaborators that you need to remove everything disturbing the cut, the clear cut.
Esatto, abbiamo sentito la voce di Amedeo sotto che conferma.
And Amedeo can confirm.
Quello che Carla stava per dire, perché immaginavo.
Altro passaggio importantissimo, molto interessante, è la posizione.
Position is important. Just move yourself exactly opposite to where you are gonna move the line. You keep the length. With the right angle. It is not only the position of the strand, it's important also to consider the position of your body, the position of the arms. Think about how many hours you're going to spend in the salon, 8, 10 hours. You need to make sure you've got the right position to be healthy after 8 or 10 hours. You follow the perimeter of the strand, creating the diagonal without cutting the edge. Now I'm reconnecting the two areas, the two sections, which is very detailed. I want to have long, medium, and long again on the fringe. It's a sort of styling game we applied. You can really understand with this cut that it can be applied on a short, very short hair, on a medium hair, and on a long one as well. It's always going to be a very nice cut because it's sort of a game. You've got a technique which can be stolen from one sector, then mix it with another sector and create a look. Basically, it's again what you talked about earlier. Learn the technique, make it your own, and use it whenever you need it. A question for you, Carla. It should come from the South America, anyway, from a Spanish-speaking country. We are afraid in working with a disconnection on the sectors, but with this effect, you basically showed us that we're able to work disconnection, but in the end, we're not going to see the disconnections, correct? Yes. It is a sort of a disconnection game, giving us a shape to volumes. We need to be inspired by the disconnections. My husband is an architect. When he applies the techniques on the houses and the buildings, he basically, you can see disconnections on the walls. From disconnections, put it into harmony. The same thing has to be applied to our activity. If you don't create disconnections, you're not going to get the homogeneous fluidity on, for example, a curly hair. Because we also need to take into account the volume. It's what we saw on the curly hair Stella V connection. I basically saw it, and from the gardeners, you know, you can take inspiration's idea by looking around yourself. The gardeners cannot let the head grow. He needs to work on it, work inside it, give shape. everything. So every single thing can be an inspiration for us. Isn't it beautiful? I've always thought about architecture, and for me, for example, modern buildings or modern churches, going back to the antique style, roundness, different sections with a square section. A box inserting around. It's like your section, horizontal section, inspired on a horizontal, vertical. One is smooth, one is straight and precise, giving the right harmony. Don't be afraid in creating these connections. We can try, you can really try, following the right technique. I can understand that in some countries, the too strong English effect may be something like worrying. It's not, because this is not English. If I really want to apply the English class, we can really do that. It's not going to be a problem. But I don't think it is the right moment to be rigid. Not talking about the Inebrya woman. It is a femininity. We talk about a fascinating women, a lot of trendy girl, but it's always very feminine.
Si vede da queste immagini in realtà che le stiamo ripercorrendo, dove non si nota assolutamente questa disconnessione, anzi.
In fact, going back to our images, we can see there is no disconnection scene. It is a sort of recreation. In this line, you see, it's lighted. The effect helped us keep the lightness on the back of the hair, which otherwise would have created a round effect, sort of gold round effect. So keep on working with these deconnections and apply all the advice given by Carla to you.
Ma guarda questa frangia, che meraviglia.
It's very smooth. Look at the fringe. I love the fringe.
Questa è lunga che disturba.
I prefer the long fringe than the short one, and I like this one very much. The next look is the brunette look. We've seen it in two different versions.
La cosa che mi piace molto di questo style, vabbè, ovviamente il colore è diverso.
You can see a different color now. The base is darker. The toner would have been a blondesse.
Molto bello di questo styling che piace tantissimo è questo.
The styling is very much liked because of this. You can see this long fringe and the wave on the side. From the classic wave, not outside, but it is an inner wave. It's a very nice detail on this look. Move the hair. Yes. Just give the final touch and be, what I call a crazy touch. Isn't it better? Look at it, much better. We cut the hair 1.5 months ago. Thank you very much. But it's still there. The technique is still there.
Ottimo, grazie Amedeo, grazie, grazie anche alla tua modella, grazie infinite.
Thank you very much to the model.
E noi procediamo, bellissimo, no? Bene, andiamo avanti e guardiamo quindi il video di questa castana.
We now go into the brunette video. We can just see what we've seen with the Sinus curly waves.
Molto birichina lei, bella, vero? Eccola!
It was dark hair color. It was all the same, but I like brunette, but I like it with different facelets. Otherwise, it's a bit covering. You see here, the divisions are really many, all triangles, positive, negative, all the way around. the outer perimeter, with the separation where there is the curve and the ridge line separation, with different triangles.
Qui abbiamo il nostro Dominic, prima avevamo l'Andrea, non l'abbiamo citato, ma c'era anche il nostro Andrea.
We also had Andrea here with us. We didn't mention him, but he was here. It's always very nice working with our ambassadors when we have to launch a new collection, because they understand us straight away and they know what we are looking for. You see the matching and the feeling between the stylist and the cutist, so color and cutting. It's like for the dresses, there needs to be a match between the person cutting and making.
Giusto. In questo caso abbiamo utilizzato l'ammonia free lightner sui suoi capelli perché questo modello
Ammonia free lighting has been used here because the model had very light hair. So we use a lighter bleaching with no ammonia. And we can see now that he's not using the smart strip, but foils, because strands, diagonal strands need to remain fixed. With a smart strip, in this case, it would have been a bit more difficult. This is why we use the foil, to give a bit more definition, strength on the triangles. He created very small triangles, but in the front, he's going to use the smart strips. You see horizontal sections, the strips are going to remain blocked, while in diagonal, it would have been a bit more difficult. This is why he used the coils. Very thin on the front. We just wanted to create shades. I didn't want to have big strands.
Quindi una sezione naturale e una sezione invece in smart strip. Qui invece sta lavorando.
So we've got a natural section and a smart strip section. And then sort of a page section. The application is now finished. Very many small strands positioned the right way to create sort of faceless on the entire line. Then we use Inebrya Color Perfect to deterge, to rinse. And we use the demi, the new demi, which are going to leave a very bright hair. We can see the different shades here. A brunette enriched with the different nuances, warmer and colder nuances, making a contrast. And you use them very often, don't you, Carla? Yes, I do, because the different colors are enhancing one the other. The cold is going to enhance the warm and vice versa, so we can see the differences. Van Gogh taught us so. He always used blue on the yellow. Think about Van Gogh's yellow flowers. He always had blue on it. So once again, you are the artist of your life. Miracle Gentles and Ammonia Free Lightener, and then Demi to create the different nuances. 1016, 1001 together with 2 to give the very cold effect. And by using the bottles, you may even create strips. You don't have to worry about the fact that one strand is going to color the other one, because you can follow the movement by using the bottle. Step by step, and then we go into the new demi-permanent color products, which are only 8 nuances, very easy to be used, I know they're very much appreciated because they leave a very bright hair with a nice texture and body. We know they're also vegan, they don't use resorcinol, they are ammonia-free, so they're modern and free colors. We can see the different nuances here. We've got ash on them to let us create a contrast, and then blonde, a bit warmer on the other tones. 8 different tones which can be mixed among themselves. Now we go into the cut of the line. I like your cutting technique because certainly it would have been applied a normal cutting, just sections, you just come and cut, it's a bob. In reality, it's not a normal bob because it is a special cutting technique, and I'm sure our listeners, our hairdressers connected with us today from all over the world, which are again going to say hello to, are really going to take the tip from your technique, and they are going to work in a different way. I'm sure they're going to change their habits. Just have a look in the video and understand what we are talking about. Marvelous brunette. Very nice brunette.
Bellissima con i suoi ricci. Elegantissima, anche liscia.
Very elegant, straight hair and curly hair.
Ok. Sezione molto particolare.
Particular section in this case, you can follow the roundness. You lower the roundness. You create a sort of 2 semicircles. We follow the normal fall of the hair. If you move the hair, you can really see that it's following this way. That as I follow the natural fall of the hair, and you are sure every way you move the bob, you're not going to get other strands coming out because you follow the natural fall. You're not going to change it. Maximum expressivity to the natural fall following the natural movement of hair. I've never seen such a separation creating this sort of carry and bob. I also try to give a sort of roundness on the back. When we finish the cut, we're going to see it or not, because you have the idea that they're really straight. It's the same. You see, in the end, you're not going to see any longer strands.
Purtroppo questa è la parte sbagliata, ma qui abbiamo la base, vedi?
Sì.
Vedi che se tu guardi, vedi proprio.
Here we have the base. You can really see how the hair is falling. It's important the model does not cross her legs. They need to be seated properly. They don't have to answer the phone. They need to just stand still normal, because their position of the head can create different angles to the hair I want to cut.
Hai ragione, Carla, hai ragione. È una forma di rispetto.
You need to ask for their collaborations. And then I cut here this disturbing effect. It's just a very short here, but they're going to disturb the perfection of the final result. This is quite important and interesting for me, the way you're cutting this side, this back part. The upper part is important so that the model is straight. She doesn't move the hair, the head, sorry. You blocked the hair. Once you cut the hair, you block it. Of course, because otherwise you're going to come on my way. You've basically taken the entire upper hair, you moved it backwards, and now you see I take away the separation and the side is here, and according to the natural fall, I cut it again. Pay attention to the ear. Always use the wider side of the comb.
Non tendi il capello, certo.
Sul frontale non tendo il capello.
Certo. E arriviamo alla frangia, la parte frontale, non frangia ma il tuo ciuffo laterale, eccolo qua. Quindi l'hai pettinato tutto da un lato.
You combed everything on one side. And now you move the entire hair on the opposite side. Why do you do this? Why do you move the entire hair on one side and on the other? Because I don't want any side to fall. I don't want to have any longer strands. I don't want to make any mistakes on the correct cut. Anyway, the model want to keep the hair. You see, they look like being the same length. When we dry it, it looks like having same length, while I cut shorter on the back. But the line now is completely straight. It is absolutely the same length. You basically in the end had a fuller hair on one side or the other, complete control, no voids, no dangerous side. With this line, it's perfect. And I also noticed a very light inner movement, which is not a straight hair. No, there is a sort of disconnection. It's a 0.5 millimeter, but there is a disconnection, not going inside. It's on the same level towards the external side. Yes, because there is a sort of 0.5 millimeter disconnection. And this way, you can't see any void, just an angle. Very nice. I'm sure many people are going to apply this technique to give diversity on the line, creates more smoothness, and also particularly to have a full control. We have also in this case the step-by-step. We are talking about a global diagram or sheet. Inside the box. There is a very nice cover where the lookbook and every single description with the translations in French, Portuguese, Spanish, English, very many languages. But I believe it is much more important to follow the webinars than by having to look at the different papers. Papers are important to remember what what has been given to you, what has been taught, but by having a look to the and following the videos on the webinar, you might understand in a better way. It is important to follow and listen to the person talking and describing the techniques. It is difficult to transfer the detailed message of the tip given and reporting it in writing. And then we know, hairdressers don't really like reading. You are an exception because you're always reading. You still the paper, don't you? Just like myself, but normally hairdressers don't really like reading. They prefer watching a video because hairdressers do love people and they love transferring knowledge and talking to people. It's like when you listen to someone, it's like being present and listen to the person firsthand, front to front. Confrontation helps people understand many things. I've always suggested the audience to ask questions. When you have a confrontation with someone else, I may learn from something from someone, I may give tips. I believe in training very much, also online training, but there must be confrontation and a dialogue with everybody to be able to understand more.
Volevo dirti una cosa, anzi volevo dire una cosa a tutti. Volevo dire una cosa a tutti. Ricordatevi che quando si fanno I nuovi look.
Remember that whenever you have to create a new look, you also need to develop the new drying technique. If you haven't informed about the new look to the collaborator applying the finishing, the wrong drying may ruin the cutting technique. So it is important to communicate. First, teach your collaborators or inform them that you applied something different. Never have anybody going out of the salon if you have applied something you don't like. It's always a reputation. It's important for you to be happy of the activity you performed and you did on your customer. Talk with your collaborator and talk with the client what you're wanting to make on her hair. It's important also to say that we study the result, not only the cutting technique of the color, but also the drying months in advance. I love waves. Thus, I'm using a very big iron to create this look. I'm not going to use little strands. I just want to apply the wave, but it doesn't have to be too defined. So I wind the strand on the iron, heat it up, and let it go. I'm not going to comb it.
Tra l'altro usi sempre delle sezioni molto grosse, vero Amedeo, quando fai questo tipo di lavoro?
Dall'onda che voglio creare.
Okay.
Yes, this is the sort of strand I want to create. I basically don't want to have the wave which has to be too defined. I like it to be smooth and straight, but this is why I use a very big iron with a very big strand.
Bene, andiamo avanti a vedere ancora alcune immagini, poi torniamo da te per il look finale, Amedeo. Grazie.
We're coming back to it later on. So, Amedeo, now we carry on with these images.
Su queste ragazze.
We see the two curly models, very nice, with the color differences, perfume of lightness. The curly hair is beautiful, isn't it? I know. Can't you see? It is the curl talking to you. Sinuous and curly waves.
Diciamo che prende questo effetto un po' più classico, anch'io la preferisco, devo dire, la preferisco riccia, però giustamente nelle collezioni...
In this case, it's classic and we like it too, but even though I need to say that I prefer the modern, the curly version. You know, you can change again from straight to curly hair.
Poi certo, la preferenza, anche la mia è la preferenza per il mosso.
Io sono un po' biricca.
Questo com'era inizialmente?
Sì, inizialmente a me è piaciuta tanto, abbiamo solo rafforzato questo biondo.
And this is the way she looked at first, very nice. We just enhanced the blonde.
Ma già vista.
Sì, certo.
Guardala di fianco alla bionda che invece è nuova.
It's beautiful, but it was already seen. The brunette was something sort of old, while the blonde one is absolutely new. And then we can see the contrast, the one that Amedeo just showed us. Before going into live, I would like to have a look at the new book. That's your jewelry, isn't it? Thank you to the people having projected it and having designed it. Have a look at it. Lookbook with the images we just showed you. And we can find all the technical explanation inside. You may even purchase the big posters, the banners. You find all the technical explanation inside. The company is going to supply you with everything you need with the new proposals to sort of dress your salon. All the videos you've seen are available for those people having a screen in their salon and be able to present the line to clients. By having a look at the videos, it's going to be the client saying, I would like to have that being done.
Abbiamo avuto il banner e quindi eccoli. Guardiamo la linea di Amedeo?
Eccomi.
Eccoci!
Allora, come vedete non è un'onda definita, è un liscio
As you can see, it's not a defined wave, it's a sort of wave, the sort of hair. It's not really a clear curl. I like the contrast with this cold blonde. I like the look very much.
Spesso anche in negozio, quindi anche giocando con i colori.
Oddio, non me le spettini mai, porca miseria.
Come no, Carla? No, è abbastanza spettinata, sì, sì, sì.
Ma no, proprio stramanata.
Move the hair just a bit, please. Do that, Amedeo. You're gonna make me happy. Do the same thing. Yeah.
Guarda, ecco, vedi che prende... Smettila con quelle mani, basta, così.
Così che prende vita da sola. Guarda che bella anche quella ciocca che esce,
Hai
che
visto?
si muove,
Ecco.
crea
You see the
movimento.
strand there?
Meraviglioso. Bene.
Very nice effect. Thank you very much, Amedeo, for your support from the beach where you live, which is very nice. And with this, thank you so much, Carla. The collection is extremely nice. You closed up the trilogy of the 3 collections. Danse la vie, c'est la rose de la vie, and now Profumo di Dolce Vita, rounding up this trilogy with a very feminine woman. Thank you very much for your tips. We are waiting for all the people being online with us to see them on the countries, because Carla is available to travel in every single country to teach her creativity, her cutting techniques and coloring techniques. So, are you happy to inebriate the world? Are you all ready to inebriate the world with us? Of course you are. Please tell us so. Thank you very much to everybody. Thank you to all people around the world, from South America to North Europe, America, Asia, from everywhere in the world. Thank you very much.